The way his load from left. That's like you.
Yeah.
Breathe in. Breathe out.
Breathe out.
What's all this smoke doing? Where did that smoke come from? Alright, so it looks like we have a wet quality. We are live.
Glad to have all 12 racers today, joined here by Terrible and T Widow, aka Mr. Ferrari 1-2.
In the house. In the house.
Look, Ferrari might have its troubles, just like every other team, but when they get it right, it is called the Ferrari Master Plan. Is it going to be just a wet qualifying?
You know, I'm not sure. I'm trying to figure out what's going on. Let me get the link out to everybody.
Yeah, they're on. Yeah, full wet.
Oh, what am I doing? Come on.
Looks like AFRL is going to be the first to start his hot lap.
Yeah, let's take a look. All right, let's see what is going on. Welcome, everybody, if you're tuning in. Round 9 of the Premier Tier Championship here at Canada. Notorious for the rain. Flashbacks to Jenson Button having the drive of his life, coming back through the field in the rain after incidents to take the win in the McLaren.
What a fantastic reference.
Yeah, that was a great race. Which tells you also, like, to never ever give up in the race because anything can happen. Safety cars, people getting penalties, getting into incidents, picking up damage.
Absolutely.
So who?
And quite a strange choice of tire. It looks like Dace is actually going to try something on the intermediates, AFLR, or AFRL, rather. I was following him. He gets a little bit squirrely on his hot lap.
So who is the next to... I don't think anyone's started a hot lap yet. I think Calirob's going to be the first to start a hot lap.
Ooh, PRL Toad getting really loose.
Oh no, you're right. I think there are people. Yeah, Joan is on a hot lap now. Let's go on board with him. He's on the main straight. Looks like he took a decent line through that final chicane. He puts in a 124.057. Oh, and Jonah Meter just put in a 120. Oh no, Toad put in a 123.891.
Yeah.
There's a McLaren of Weird DV, our Tier 1 driver, subbing in today.
124.3.
124.3, not a bad time by Weird. Nice lap. Steinmine putting in a 121.865. What a lap from Steinmine. Bronco putting in a 123.935. So nice lap from him.
I'm going to go ahead and say that 121, it's going to be tough to beat, especially here in this rain. No traction whatsoever.
But I think it's also possible. Let me see, who's this? There's a Haas out here. That's Cody. He's going to start a lap. I think it's also possible that, you know, you can already see it now. The drivers driving through the rain has created a little bit of a drying line. It's still wet and it's still damp, but that could be good enough conditions to potentially try the intermediate. I guess it depends on if it continues raining this hard for the rest of the session. But well, I think it's possible someone can sneak in a really quick lap on the inters at the end.
Absolutely, and you might see towards the end of this qualifying, maybe in the last 3-4 minutes, somebody try to jump out there on those intermediate tires and put in a banker.
Yeah,
Oh, and Cody Lewis gets sideways and bangs into the wall. Thankfully, no wing damage.
So let's see what else is happening. Will B is going to start a lap. Weird looks like he's going to finish a lap behind him.
It looks like Base DG might be the next to come across the line.
Wow, and Weird did improve, so great lap from Weird. I think this is the interesting thing about wet qualifying. It's not like dry qualifying. These drivers are not obliged to take these tires and start with them in the race, so that means they do multiple laps. So it feels a little bit more like a traditional qualifying where everyone's just running laps and laps, and they get quicker and quicker, and it's constantly shuffling. A lot of drama, really exciting.
Absolutely. You can really start to get comfortable and into a rhythm in these wet qualifyings, whereas you don't feel the pressure of having to put that perfect lap in.
Exactly.
On your, shot.
On that one shot. Because you could do multiple laps on the dry tires in quali, but then you're suffering in the race.
Right. And like you said, you're not required to take these tires at the start of the race. Oh, and we have MST Sport into the wall just before the finish line.
I saw that, but it was only at the end. And he does have wing damage, so he's going to have to hustle back into the pits.
This may be he may be feeling down about this, but look, it's better than a broken wheel.
Yeah, I mean, the fact of the matter is it's not terminal damage, so he's not out of the session. And that would be bad for MST because he's already, as it is, sitting near the back of the pack, and you know that as people put in their laps, like Will B and Hubali, if he were to have gone out with DNF, and they put in any timed lap, he'd be in 12th. So it's not over. He just has to get back into the pits, regroup.
Absolutely.
As Weird's having a little bit of trouble putting the power down, so maybe it's time to switch out these tires. Let's see what he does, because he hasn't validated. So it looks like
Alley Rob putting in a 122. We kind of missed that a little bit.
I did miss that a little bit, but I think he put that in a few minutes ago. But that's, yeah, really, really great lap.
Let's see if he jumps into the pits or if he's going to come across the line again. He is going to come across the line again.
Let's go on board with Cali Rob.
That dry racing line is really starting to form now.
And see, and he's faster, less than about a half a tenth faster. The margins are so slim. Great lap from Cali Rob.
Cali Rob definitely taking advantage of the small field today.
Yeah, absolutely. Unfortunately, Adri is out. He had an injury, so we hate to see that. Adri's quick, very, very quick. Everybody loves having him on the grid, but I think Cali Rob and Steinlein right now, they can sense that they have a really good opportunity to win this race, but take nothing away from the rest of the drivers. We have a lot of quick eyes here. Anything can happen. All it takes is an incident or tagging a wall. You lose a piece of the wing, and it completely changes the dynamic of the race. So we'll have to see what happens.
Absolutely. These premier tier guys, they sense one little bit of blood in the water, and it's up for grabs for anybody. Right.
They're premier tier for a reason. Any of these guys could win on any given day. They're all that quick. So who's crossing the line? Okay, so Base DG just crossed the line.
Cali Rob's going to come across the line.
Is that Cali Rob? Let's see. Yep, let's go on board with Cali Rob. And he does improve, so the track is getting faster and faster by the lap. So who's all up in the chat? Rusty's in the chat saying what race or just qualifying. Oh yeah, I saw that earlier. I'm not sure if it's just qualifying or not. Great lap from Stein. Agreed. Grack saying, wow, what? Glad we didn't have this. Agreed, Grack. I actually don't mind. Me and T-Wood and I don't mind the wet races. You don't mind them so much, right?
No, not at all.
Yeah, me neither.
It definitely, to me, I feel more of an advantage during a wet race because people make mistakes during dry races, and then you're going to multiply it in a wet race.
That's true, because then if you're like, in this track, for instance, if you get stuck behind somebody who has DRS, it's very hard to pass them in the dry. But in the wet, you're going to have a lot more opportunities. But it is a lot. It takes a lot more focus, and it's mentally very taxing, very exhausting. I think these guys will be happy if they have a dry race, though. So Cody just put in a 121.757. I missed that one. Let's go on board with Base Bass is going to cross the line. This is going to be his first time lap. Where will this put him? Second, 121.725. Wow.
Real close.
That's awesome. Okay. Who else is coming? Bronco. This is Bronco's first race. So new reserve, quick. He's a Canadian native, so this is his home race. Bronco and PLR Code are Canadian, so they're going to be fighting as hard as they can to try to take pole to give themselves the best chance possible for a win.
And here he comes across the line, putting in
123.2, so not quite good enough. But he'll have more time.
He doesn't improve.
Yeah, he'll have more time.
He doesn't improve time, but not position.
Yeah.
W. Butler puts in a 123.05.
Yeah, 123. Yeah, 051. Weird improved his time. 121.898. Great time from Weird.
See that. Good job. Well, see, this is the strange thing, especially for, Weird in this position. One of the Tier 1 drivers coming into a Premier Tier League race. There is no pressure. He could just go out there and just drive, pretty much.
Yeah, and I think also the conditions of the wet mix things up quite a bit. Just like in the real thing where it can be an equalizer of sorts in terms of cars. If there's a Ferrari and, an Alfa Romeo has a better chance of fighting a Ferrari in the wet, where it's more about the control of the throttle application and the fundamentals of how you take the corners. And it could completely change up the lineup.
Absolutely.
Weird is definitely good in the wet. I remember that from my race in Spain.
So it could, back to what Terrible was saying, they could definitely put, the faster cars
out of sequence.
And the faster drivers into the same playing field with one another.
Right. But that'll be interesting, though, because then if the race is dry, it'll seem like he'll be around, and the guys in front and behind, in theory, are going to be that little bit quicker than he is, so it's going to be really hard for him to defend that position. But Weird's a fighter, so I'm excited to see how that turns out.
Well, here's something that I really do appreciate, especially from a wet race, or a wet qualifying, rather, is you go out and you get the feel of the car on a wet qualifying. Now, when it comes to the race and it being dry, it's a totally different feel to the car, so it's whoever can adapt to that feel first is going to definitely take advantage. Yeah,
it's a completely different brake point. It's a completely different way to get into the corner. The tires don't bite. You got to start turning early for them to kind of, I don't know what it is, but you understand what I'm saying. It's completely different.
Right.
So if it takes you 2 laps to adjust and it only takes me 1 lap to adjust, that could be a 3-4 second gap in that lap alone, and that's enough to lose touch with somebody, and then they're gone in the race. So it's going to be really important. Broncos, he does improve, but he doesn't improve his position. Joan locking up into the chicane, but nice and tidy through there, trying to put the power down, but the car is just squirming around. And he does improve. He's up to 7th. Dace is coming. I think he's invalidated, unfortunately, so he'll have to do 1 more lap here, another hot lap. He's got enough ERS for it, so here he goes. And yeah, you can see that there's just absolutely no grip out there.
Yeah. So going on board with MST Sport, he's going to try to put his first time in.
Cali Rob is starting another hot lap.
And he jumps into the pit.
So Cali Rob knows he needs to pick up the pace because everyone else is going to be getting faster and faster as well. So the pressure's on. Can he hold on to this provisional pole?
Another one to watch out for. Here comes Cody Lewis across the line to start a hot lap.
All right, we'll monitor that one. Looks like the next car up will be a Williams. I believe that's the car of Toad. Let's go to Toad really quickly. Toad, who says he gets his name from being a wet conditions expert. And look at him go, 120.6, so 5 or so tenths.
Fastest lap.
So now the pressure is on Cali Rob. Yeah, he's got to push. Steinlein will have seen that as well, that he got dropped down, and now he knows the track is getting faster. He has to deliver the goods now.
Absolutely, and this is what I'm talking about when these racers smell blood in the water. It's going to come down to the wire who can put this fastest time in.
And Dace crossing the line. He puts in a 1:27. So feeling the effects of the rain, Dace, but he'll have time to improve. Will crossing the line.
Just came out of the roundabout. He's going to come onto the straight. Let's see what kind of lap he can put in.
Let's go on board with him. Can he nail the entry and the exit of this last final high-speed chicane?
Keeping it very tidy. Nice
Very
exit.
tidy. Very tidy indeed. And that's good enough for second.
P2.
Yeah. Great lap
Nice
from Cody.
lap.
So Weird is going to cross the line. He's starting his hot lap.
And it looks like Cali Rob's going to go around. I'm not sure if he's on his hot lap or not.
It looks like someone went off on the exit of... Yeah, Dace went off on the exit of the...
Oh, tough break for Dace.
turns 8 and 9. So who is that? Steinmine is going to cross the line next. Tidy through there. And he does improve by 2/10, so he's up to 4th. Then back up to the second row. Great
Let's
lap.
go back on board with Cali Rob as he comes out of the roundabout.
Yeah, and it looks like there is a car of Will. He's invalidated. He's about to cross the line, but he'll have to do another run. Base behind
Cody
him.
Lewis getting a collision with Dace. Five
Oh,
place grid penalty.
wow. What happened there?
As
Cali
Rob
Rob's
through the final
crossing.
chicane.
Yep, he's going to be crossing the line here next. And he
He
improves.
does improve, but
Wow,
not
so-
good enough for
But
pole.
he's only a hair over a 10th off the pole.
So he's definitely going to set up to go for another hot lap here. 80% ERS.
He's
This
good
is
to go.
perfect.
He's good to go. Now the only issue is these tires will have been kind of worn out a little bit. If there was anybody who came in for one more set of tires and positioned himself to do one more hot lap, that would have been probably a wise move. But it's no matter because Caliram just put in the fastest sector 1.
Yeah.
Toad crossing the line. He's starting a hot lap. He's timing. I think Toad's in the best position.
I don't know.
Will
Cali Rob is
Steinmine
looking
cross the
very
line in
good.
time? Steinmine barely crosses the line in time. Steinmine is actually in the best position to take advantage of an ever-drying track.
Absolutely.
Steinmine crossed the line with 1 second to go.
Cali Rob putting down the power. He gets out of the roundabout very nicely.
I'm on board with Base DG.
Oh, and he's going to get a slipstream going down the straightaway.
Wow, who gave him the slipstream? It looks like it was Will. Base improves. He's up to 4th, so he bumps down.
The final chicane perfectly. Gets a little bit squirrely.
Where is this going to put him? Wow, and he
Pole
snatches
position.
pole by half a tenth, but it's not over.
Wow, it's not over. We still have Toad and Steinmine, correct?
Yeah, and MST as well, but he's invalidated. So MST not being able to put in the lap, the Mercedes
Oh, Toad gets squirrely.
Weird going to cross the line. He does not improve. He does not improve. Next up is going to be Toad, but he's invalidated.
He's coming into the pit.
So that means Steinmine will be the last runner.
And he does look very tidy.
He does. I think he's just about. We're talking about that learning of the new track conditions. He did a really great job of adjusting very quickly, and he improves.
P4.
But it's not good enough for Paul. But he'll start in the second row.
Wow, what a great qualifying for Cali Rob. You know, he definitely needed this.
This is a really great qualifying. Very exciting to watch.
Absolutely. You know, I'm almost hoping for a wet race. But it would be great to see how these drivers would react after this wet qualifying to a dry race. So either one, it's going to be a fantastic race to watch. Stay tuned as qualifying ends and the formation lap begins. So in P1 we have Cali Rob putting in a 120.6 on his final run. PLR Toad P2. Cody Lewis in 3rd. Steinmine 4th. Base 5th. Weird Weird is in P6, Bronco P7, Joan P8, Butler in 9th, and rounding up the top 10 is Dace. P11 is going to be MST Sport, and 12th is going to be Hubali. P11 and 12th, MST Sport and Hubali respectively, did not manage to put in any kind of qualifying time whatsoever, but if it is a dry race, they will have their selection of tires. But then again, so will everybody else, because it was a wet qualifying, so
It looks like it's going to be a dry race.
it's looking that way, isn't it?
Yep.
So this is interesting, because this is exactly the situation that we were talking about as far as who's going to be able to make the adjustment coming off of a wet qualifying to a dry race. And another thing too, everybody will have their selection of tire.
Yeah, so just giving them a minute here to get their strategies right. I think a lot of people will take advantage of the free choice of tire from the rain to potentially start on the mediums.
And look, I don't know if this is the case or not, but I can see into the pit, or into the garage of Steinmine. A red tire was sitting there, and then it changed to a yellow tire. So I don't know if that's going to mean anything or not. If it could have been just Codemaster glitch, but
It's possible someone going onto the alternate tire.
absolutely. Had no idea it would do that. And Steinmine is on a medium tire, so that could be the case.
So how will this work out for him? And
I don't know. I don't agree with that tire strategy, and it'll be interesting to see how he adjusts to it. And the reason why is because if there is a safety car early, then these soft runners can jump onto mediums. But if you're starting off on the medium tire, you don't have that option. You just kind of have to stick it out.
Yeah, and I think it was Cody Lewis who was in 3rd. He's bumped down to 8th due to a 5-place grid penalty from qualifying. So that
What
moves.
was the situation with that?
I don't know. It was him and Dace. To be honest, we completely missed it. I'm sure we'll see some of it in the incident reports. Not entirely sure. But really quick, if we do a grid rundown, see if we have enough time to do a quick grid rundown. Calirob, he started on pole, great lap, 102 points. He's tied for 2nd in the championship. Toad, a new reserve. Good to see him in the mix. Steinmine tied for 2nd with Calirob with 102 points, actually. So he'll be starting on 2nd row. Behind him, base GG. He's 7th with 82 points in the Williams. We have Weird, Tier 1 Super Sub, joining in on the front today. Good to see Weird in the mix. Bronco, new reserve in the Ferrari. Joan, another newer driver in the Red Bull. Then we have Cody in the Haas. He's got 38 points so far this season. Will be and Dace, MST, and Hubali.
This just in, Hubali opting to start on the hard compound tire.
So he's obviously committed to a one-stop.
And just before the race, here's we have soft, medium, soft, medium, soft, medium, hard. So
A really big mix, huh?
yeah, it seems that way. People going with alternate tire strategies. As
So
we have 4 lights, 5 lights.
Here we go, round 9, Premier Tier, about to
Lights
get underway. Here we go, they're off.
And it looks like Steinmine gets a decent jump.
He does.
As well as Toad, as he goes off the track and back on. There's a bunch up into turn 2.
And it looks like Calirob's lost out. Calirob's lost out. I'm not sure what happened. Oh, base DG.
Everybody's just all over the place.
Yeah, a lot of ghosted until the order kind of settles in. Weird with a great start jumping up into 4th. Bronco trying to move around the outside. Not quite there. And what's happening behind? Just absolute madness behind. Dace
Well,
up to 10th.
Where there is not madness is Toad, as he just blasting through the order. Up into
Oh,
P1
and Will trying to go around the inside and then outside in the high-speed chicane. But unfortunately, he goes wide there, almost into the wall. I wonder if he picks up damage. He does not, so he will continue. So Toad in the lead.
Yeah.
Yeah, great
start to the race.
Great lap so far from Toad. I don't know why it's showing him 7 seconds ahead, though. He's 1 second or so ahead.
Yeah, he's 1.7 at the moment.
So Steinmeier knows he has to try to push as much as possible to try to stay with Toad. And some contact happening with Joan and Hubali, getting really feisty. But Joan gets ahead, so nice job from Joan. Oh, when he gets a little sideways there. On board with MST. What is the move from Mercedes? Are there team orders? It looks like that is the case. MST is up the inside. He's made the move, but Hubali with a great run.
So Cali Rob all over the back of Weird, and Weird, what a great job. He locks up, and Cali Rob goes down the inside, and he gets the job done.
Yeah, nice move from Cali Rob. See, Cali Rob, I would hope, is not, freaking out about his start. He knows he's got the pace for pole. He just needs to get into a rhythm and put in the good lap times and start crawling his way back to the front runners. So let's see.
Just drive the car and settle in and let it come to you.
Yeah, long race still. Still have 32 laps to go. So Toad in the lead, great start. Steinmeier also with a great start. Cali Rob lost out at some point.
Joan is going around the outside of Cody Lewis, but doesn't manage to get the job done. They are very close to one another.
And Dace up the inside, but Hubali's trying around the outside. Dace makes the move. Great move from Dace.
Will Butler picking up a 3-second time penalty, multiple warnings.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Oh! Joan and Cody Lewis, a great battle is going on between these two guys. They are back to back.
I feel like I'm missing all the action. I turned to one thing and then something else happened somewhere else.
Oh, Joan gets a little wide.
He does get a little wide there. He loses out on the exit.
Oh, and here comes MST Sport up the inside of Cody Lewis. They make a little bit of contact.
A little touch
MST
there.
Sport goes into the back of Joan.
And Dace touching Cody. Hubali touching Dace. They get through just about okay, though.
MST Sport's going to try to make the pass on Joan. Joan goes to the fin. They are side by side.
Oh, and Joan didn't back off there, so I'm not sure where he was expecting to go with MST fully ahead.
Dace all over the backside of Cody Lewis now.
It's not the end of the world.
First and second turn.
Yeah, it's not the end of the world for those runners.
And Hubali is retired.
Yeah, so not sure what's happening with Hubali, but he's out. But yeah, MST, it's not the end of the world. He did pick up wing damage, but he was going to have to pit anyway for the medium tires. But the issue is now that he's going to have to go about 20 or 21 laps on these medium tires so that he can get to the stint on softs.
And this battle between Dace and Cody Lewis getting very, very tight.
Yep, camera's right on him as we speak. This is the closest battle on track at the moment.
And also, too, to take notice of, Cody Lewis, 20% ERS as Dace, 70%, so gathering,
Just farming some energy.
Yeah, absolutely, and he picks up the DRS. Is he going to be able to get the move done? They are so
A little bit of a touch, touch. Dace gets a better exit.
And will this allow Butler to come back into the mix?
I think it is. So far, one DNF today. Hubali, not sure what happened. Joan picking up a time penalty.
Yeah.
Looks like that's a really, really tight battle between MST and Joan. So that's going to be another one to watch. I'm going to go back up to base.
Yes.
DG, he's closing in on Weird. We're doing a great job. Weird, our Tier 1 driver, subbing in today, trying to get some more laps and more practice against the best of the best, and he's doing a great job so far. So base DG chasing him down, though. These guys started on the medium tire. Very consistent, though, Weird. Great driver, getting very clean exits. It looks like he's maybe potentially holding up base DG a little bit, but I don't think Weird is going to care too much because base DG's got to make a move. And Joan has left the session. Let me see if I can send him an invite, actually. Let me see. Let me send him a couple, actually. Bear with me. Come on. Alright, yeah, so back on board now. Sorry about that, guys. Trying to get Joan back up into the race.
So here's a thought. With Steinman being almost 5 seconds now behind Toad, Toad being on the 5-lap-old softs and Steinman being on the 5-lap-old medium tires,
yeah.
How is this going to benefit the two?
How is that developing?
Yeah, how will that develop? What is your thoughts on that?
Well, Steinman is losing out at the moment, right? That's obvious. So he's fallen off a little bit from the pace of Toad. But the thing is, Toad is doing his stint on the softs as we speak. Steinman will have that advantage later in the race. So it just depends on your philosophy. Is it better to start on the fast tire, build up a gap, and then get on the slower tire later? Or is it better to do your... And let me see, who is this? Base DG making a move.
Yep.
And Weird leaves him the room, gets a better exit. Let's see what happens here. But yeah, or do you start on like the slower compound, get most of the race done on that, and then when your car is nice and light, and when the track is nicely rubbered in, then you get on the soft tires. Where is the soft tire more effective? So it depends on who you ask, but.
Yeah, I definitely feel like, and you can definitely tell this in the interval time, that Steinman is not losing much time to Toad anymore, but rather maintaining the distance. So when those soft tires start to fall off, Steinman could start to reel him in a little bit, and then later on in the race it could develop in Steinman's favor.
Exactly. So now we're on the 8th lap. So the pit window for Toad will be open. I would imagine he will be coming in this lap. And he picks up a time penalty.
Oh, that's not good.
So tough break for Toad, who's, I'm sure, is trying to keep it as consistent as possible. And he picks up a time penalty. He's flying at the moment, though.
Yeah, but also, too, to take notice of, Steinman started to reel his time in a little bit between them, but now he's...
It's opened up a little bit again.
Yeah, it's opening up again.
It's been about 5.8, 5.9 the past lap or two, so let's see if Steinman can start to reel him in. I think also Toad knows that he's about to pit, so he's also using up a lot of ERS. And he goes out, he stays out. He stays out. Now, during some of the earlier in the week conversations I had with Toad, he did specify that he likes the two-stop strategy here. So I would imagine that he will be doing a two-stop strategy, and I think he should be coming in this lap. He's probably looking at the gap and saying, okay, the gap behind me is not closing. If anything, it's opening up. And it looks like Cody Lewis made a move on Bronco, but it's because Bronco's in the pit, so Bronco, the first one to blink, he's coming in for the medium tires. But yeah, so Toad is looking at the gaps behind him and say, okay, the gaps are only getting bigger. Why don't I continue with what I'm doing? And because I'm not losing time anyway, and this is going to make my laps on the second and third stints that much faster because I'm going to be doing one lap less on those. So he's thinking the long game. And Will
retired from the session.
And what happened with Will?
He was in P9.
So what happened to his car? His car's still going. So I wonder if he just gave up or what happened there. Not sure. So let's see what else is happening. We have Weird, who is within a second of base DG. And Will, yeah, Will is out of the session, so I'm not sure what happened. But Weird with a great race so far hasn't really put a foot wrong. I think he may have, let's see who's got what penalties. Yeah, so he's got a 3-second time penalty, but if you can keep it at 3 seconds, I don't think it's hurting them too bad. You can see base DG has got the upper hand in terms of pace, starting to drive away a little bit. But if he pushes hard, he can keep it within that DRS and try to go that much faster with base DG's help. He's right there at that 1 second mark.
Right, well, I do believe he needs to settle down. Oh, he gets loose. Yeah, it's going to hurt.
You called it. He needs to settle down, but he was pushing probably a little too hard, try to take a little bit.
Definitely hurt himself by, obtaining another 3-second penalty. So at the moment, PRL Toad with a 3-second penalty, Base 3 seconds, Weird 6, and Dace 3 seconds. MSC Sport and AFRL.
Joan.
3 second time penalties.
Yeah, and I think Joan is. I don't know if he's racing at the moment.
He did come back into the lobby.
Alright. Let's see. So what is happening?
That's why you see that gap closing down to MSC Sport.
Oh, right. He's no name on my lobby.
Get DRS.
So let's see what happens here. I don't think he's going to be close enough.
No, he's going to try to make the move.
MST into the pits. So causing Joan to lose a little bit of time there because you could see that Joan hesitated, like to think. Probably thinking what's happening actually. Is actually MST going to jump into the chicane with me? But yeah, MST jumps into the pits.
MST selecting to go onto the hard compound tire. He's going to go with the one-stop strategy.
Let's see how that works for him. It's not a bad strategy as long as you can keep it together, not lose out any time, because the guys behind him will be coming really, really quickly.
Right, I just don't like the one-stop strategy. Now I know he's a little bit down and he feels like he needs to play the long game, but a safety car could bring him back into the fold and he's going to be on the inferior tire now. Yeah,
well, we'll see. That's the only trouble about the one-stop. If there's a safety car, puts you on the back foot. Oh, but looks like Base DG made a move on Calirob. Calirob taking his initial softs very long.
Out of the pits. Oh, and he goes off into the grass.
Oh, and he goes a little bit too quickly, and now he comes out behind Daze. So how does this affect his chance for the win?
I don't know if maybe Toad saw Daze coming around.
He did, surely.
And jumped onto the grass, but I do believe that there was room for him to get out of the pit.
I believe, and I'll have to confirm, but I would imagine it's a case of him seeing, oh shit, there's another car coming. Let me go as fast as possible. And you can only go so fast on that pit exit.
Right.
So, a little bit of a mistake, it seems, from Toad. Oh, and then he dives in there. Heads up to Dace to leave him the room. Toad did get a break and held his line just in the nick of time, but only just. That was crazy.
That was some heads-up driving from Dace, noticing that.
Yeah.
Here comes a car.
Yep. And Dace in the pits.
So, what is this little altercation and then the incident in the grass going to do with the battle between Toad and Steinman?
It's all to play for still. It's all to play for. And Calirob jumped into the pits.
Also, too, with Toad having that time penalty and Steinman not, this could come out to be in Steinman's favor at the end.
And Calirob coming out crucially just ahead of Cody Lewis. So great stop from Calirob, great stop from Team Alfa Romeo. Now, here's a real question. Why did Calirob go 12 laps on the soft tire?
To try and have fresher tires to catch up, maybe?
I don't think so, because normally I think you pit on lap 8 or 9, and there's no real reason to extend that any further unless you're doing a one-stop. But he's chosen not to go onto the hard tire, but to the medium tire.
Well, he could be optioning to go soft, medium soft.
Possible. I think he's going for the soft to medium one-stop.
It could be.
Cali Rob
Days picking up a 3-second, and also Weird TV picking up a 5 for speeding in the pit lane.
Yeah, tough break for Weird. He'll have to serve that on his next stop, I believe. So Bronco getting, let's go, this is a battle for 6. Bronco getting a really great run on Cody. The guys, yep, makes the overtake happen. Weird coming out just next to them.
If he could get ahead, it would be great for him.
Great stop from Team McLaren to get that McLaren out just in front of the pair that was fighting. And
so
Weird should be thankful that the guys were fighting to cost them a little bit of time, and it meant he came out ahead.
He just did come out ahead too. Oh, and he gets off into the grass.
Yeah. Now, unfortunately for Weird, he's got looks like 11 seconds of penalties. Cali Rob picking up a 3-second penalty. So Steinmeier can see that his opponents have these time penalties, and he must be thinking, let me keep it within the lines, because if he plays his cards right, that could help him to get a win here today.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, Weird does have 11 seconds of penalties. I think 5 seconds will be served on his next stop, so he's got a net 6 seconds of penalties. And looks like somebody, Jones retires from the session. Tough break for Joan. He disconnected, so I'm not sure what happened.
Lewis into the pit, and he smacks into the distance marker, getting a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane.
So mistakes are going to cost these guys time.
So here's the battle between Weird and Bronco. Bronco gets a little bit wide.
And yeah, so Weird's able to drive off a little bit, but it does seem like Bronco has the upper hand in terms of pace, so Bronco will try to reel him back in. And let's see where Cody Lewis cycles out. I think he's going to be clear in 7th. And he is. Now, he will have to stop again, and he will have to serve that 5-second penalty in the pits. So I wonder how that's going to play out in his battle for 7th.
Cody Lewis picking up a 3-second time penalty.
Tough break.
People are just shooting themselves in the foot here.
Yeah, but
so the only people with no time penalties is Bronco and Steinmeier.
Yeah, so Bronco doing
in a 111.
Bronco doing really, really well.
And Toad is catching up to base. Toad is now 3.3 seconds behind Steinmeier. And he is all over the backside of his teammate. So what are the team orders here? Are there any? There is no doubt that Toad will probably get the good run on the straightaway and make the pass. And they look like they might be going to go side by side into this chicane. No, one goes into the pits, so base into the pits. PRL Toad picking up a 3-second time penalty. So he now has 6 seconds worth of time penalties.
Now, what's happening here? We have base.
Well, Toad picked up another 6 seconds, or another 3 seconds.
Yeah, but base, I think now is on. What stint is this?
Base is all over the backside of Weird.
Yeah, brand new soft tires. So base has the advantage for this stint, but I think it's going to be the opposite for the next.
I do believe that Steinmine is opting to go for the one-stop medium to soft.
I don't think so, because he would have needed to take...
he just came in. He just came in and he went on the soft.
So he's doing a medium, soft, medium.
Or medium, soft, soft.
Possible. Possible.
And the battle is ensuing between Weird and Bass.
Yeah, and where does Steinmine come out? Just behind Cali Rob. So Cali Rob, I believe that was an undercut. Making great use of those medium tires. So let's see what's happening with Weird, because Weird is, as well is right behind Base DG.
Cali Rob just trying to do everything he can to fend off Steinmine at the moment, but
Steinmine gets ahead. Brand new soft tires. And looks like Weird's falling a little bit back from Base DG. Base DG making the move, getting ahead. Brand new soft tires. So Base DG and Steinmine showing the delta difference in terms of the lap time with those soft tires. Now that's not going to last, so they need to push really hard to create a gap. Oh, and Weird tagging the wall there. Does he pick up damage? He does not, unless there's some minor phantom damage, so should be good to continue. Let's go check in with Cali Rob.
they are still one behind the other.
So if we look at the lap times, though, it's really great lap times from Toad. At the moment, his last lap was a 1:11.898. Steinmine's last lap was a 1:13.445. I think this lap will be quicker, though, because Steinmine was battling with Cali Rob in setting that time.
Toad is just, from this point on, going to have to drive absolutely perfect as Steinmine runs out of ERS.
But the fastest lap as it stands is actually Cody Lewis in 7th. And MST retires. So he's decided to call it a day. So a lot of drivers giving up points today just out of frustration. So 4 people out of the race so far. We got Toad up in first with a commanding lead, putting in great lap times. Behind him, Steinmine and Cali Rob. And who is that? Is that Daze? Daze has gone off on those hard tires.
Weird picking up another 3-second time penalty, so he's up to 14 seconds now.
Yeah, so let's go to the battle for seconds. Steinmine and Cali Rob. Daze, unfortunately, looks like has got the leader catching up to him already. That's tough for Daze.
Cali Rob just doing everything that he can to stay within this 1 second.
Yeah. Steinmine finally picking up a penalty.
That's a tough break.
So you can see both are completely using their ERS.
He's picking up 5 seconds, speeding in the pit lane.
Yep, he's in the
And
pits.
did Cali Rob get it? No, he did not, and he has 0% ERS.
Yeah.
This track just hard to maintain ERS. You can gain it back, but it just goes right back down.
Yeah, it does. The straight's so long that when you deploy it, it's, you know, like 20 seconds of full deployment, it feels like.
Yeah.
So Cali Rob's starting to fall back a little bit. And yeah, now the lap times are coming to Steinmine. So last laps from Toad, 1:11.9. Last lap from Steinmine, 1:11.3. So about 0.6 advantage to Steinmine at the moment. Cody picking up a time penalty. In 4th, though, we have Base DG put in really great laps as well, 1:11.8.
Yeah, he's
So
only 2.2 behind Cali Rob.
I think he's going to start catching him, although his tires are going to start dropping off. So
yeah, especially the difference between soft and medium. Ooh,
and
base goes a little bit wide into the wall.
does he have damage? Let's see if we can pinpoint some damage on the car. No, so it looks like he should be okay. And Weird and Bronco.
Weird retires from the session.
I wonder what happened there. He was in a great position.
I'm not
So-
sure, did he pick up too many time penalties?
Probably did. Shot himself in the foot. Tough break for Weird. He was doing really good in the race though.
Yeah, so the only person with no time penalties at the moment is Bronco.
And he's coming out as we speak. So, wow. Steinmeier is just setting a blistering pace at the moment. Last lap from Toad was a 1:13.4.
Yeah, he's starting to close in, and he's going to need to because
Yeah.
on these soft tires, they're not going to last.
But I think you're right though. I think Steinmeier is going to do a medium soft soft. Because if he does 4 more laps, 3-4 more laps, that'll be one more 9-lap stint. I think that's doable.
Oh, and he does kiss the wall. Does he have damage? Is the wing, the end plate still there? Yes, it is.
So he's very lucky not to have picked up damage there.
Yeah, because he's going to need all the downforce he can get trying to make
Yep.
this gap with Toad close.
Yeah, there's no way to make up the time if you don't have the downforce. So let's see what's happening with penalties. So Steinmeier has a 3-second advantage in terms of penalties. So the gap being about 11 seconds is actually 8 seconds or so as it stands.
Yeah, and it looks like Base is finally caught up to Cali Rob.
Let's go check in with Base.
He's going to need to make a move soon because these soft tires will not last 6 laps on them already. They should start to even out fairly soon.
A little bit of
Cali Rob.
a switchback there from Base DG. Does that mean he'll get a better exit? Cali Rob gets a decent exit, but he's got the DRS.
Yeah, and Cali Rob is very low on ERS and he does need to start.
Yeah, and that's
Storing
Base through. So what does Cali Rob do here? Does he try to attack and take the position back? Does he hang back and build up some energy? Let's see.
I believe that the latter would probably be the better thing to do. He needs to build up some energy, and if he can keep this gap to Base, he can just ride the DRS.
And
stay in.
at this phase of the race, he's either going to stay out, or he's going to come in again for a pit stop for soft tires.
Ooh, he runs a little bit wide.
He does lose some time there.
Early.
He does lose some time there. So how old are these tires? Let's take a look.
11 laps.
11 laps old. He'd have to do 11 more laps. That would be
It's gonna be
12, 23 lap stint on the medium. It's possible, but it's not easy.
No, definitely not. And at this moment, they are starting to wear. Those
Yeah.
rear tires are starting to lose a lot of grip.
So I'm on board now with Bronco. He's chasing down Cody for 5th. Bronco, the hometown hero, trying to get a top 5. Show them how they do it in Canada.
And Cali Rob has managed to pick up the DRS, so he will close the gap just a hair. Who is in the pits?
Toad.
Toad is in the pit.
He's in the pits. Let's see where he cycles out. What up, Vixtify? Vixtify in the house. We miss you, buddy. Whenever you're up for a race, let's do it, dude. So let's see. Toad now has come out behind Rob. Rob, who's got the DRS, so it's going to be hard for Toad to make the pass. But you figure at some point he'll make the pass because he's going to have much better traction.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it has been a while, Vixtify. Good to see you around, bro.
So this is actually not a bad situation for Cali Rob to be in. He is very close to Base, and with Toad being on fresh tires, he is going to manage to get the job done. So this will allow Cali Rob to store up some energy.
Yeah, it will. And, I mean, it's tough to get passed by somebody, but Cali Rob wasn't exactly in the front of the pack before the pit stops anyway. So it's Toad returning kind of to the position where he was in, because everyone was out of sequence because of the pit stops. But he'll do well for himself if he can try to stay with them. But you can already see the traction from those soft tires. It's just the medium tires can't compete. So base DG in the pits. Where does he cycle out?
So what do you do if you're Steinman at this point? 8 laps. What time do you come in and pit? Because you got Toad starting to catch up.
He's pitting this lap.
Okay.
He's pitting this lap. So Toad then will do... How many laps is Toad going to do? Toad is going to do 10 laps? 11 laps? 11 laps? Toad is going to do an 10-11 lap stint, and then Steinmeier is going to do a 9-lap stint at the end. Now, here's where it can start to get tricky. It looks like Cali Rob is going to stay out on these medium tires unless he pits right now.
Here comes Steinman into the pits.
Yeah, Steinman into the pits.
Still no. Well, no, Steinman does have a 3-second time penalty.
Cali Rob in the pits.
Correct?
Yep, Cali Rob in the pits. Toad's hitting the fastest lap, so he's flying at the moment. He's been released now back into the lead. So let's see what kind of stop Alfa Romeo can do. Look pretty decent. Where do they cycle back out? Steinman will come out at second. Base DG through the pit stops is up into third now.
Unfortunate for Steinman that he was able to come out ahead of base, because that could have caused some trouble.
Yeah, and he's got the better tires, so now it's his chance to utilize it. Let's now go to the penalty screen.
And Steinman just using up all his ERS.
Yeah, so he's really, really, really pushing.
He is 13.7 behind Toad.
See,
and
this
Toad having 6 seconds worth of penalties.
So this is what's tricky about what tire do you start on for the start of the race, after having been in wet conditions where you have then a free choice for the race. Because you can see here that Steinman, who opted for the medium tire to start the race, fell back a little bit in that first stint or so. And it could be that part of the reason he's so far back now is because he lost touch with them.
Yeah.
So it's always tricky to figure out what is actually the best strategy. Because Toad started on those soft tires. He went immediately fast from the jump, built up a gap, and now he's... The gap that he built up in the beginning is paying dividends because he's out of touch. So it's been a great race so far from Toad.
Absolutely. Steinman needs to get it a little bit more tidy. He does kiss the wall and cut a corner, so...
He's still at 3 seconds of penalties, though. So if Toad were to pick up any further penalties, that only brings him closer and closer to Steinman. So the guys have to keep it tidy.
Absolutely.
Bronco.
Steinman is able to close some kind of this gap. Could be interesting.
Yeah, I think by the last few laps, it could get really interesting. Bronco is the only driver out there with no penalties, so great job from him so far today. First race at best, top 5, so great race so far from Bronco.
Well, if you think about it, there's only 5 drivers.
Technically 7.
Yeah.
He's technically not in last. So let's see, what else is happening? Let's go back up with Cali Rob. Does Cali Rob have the pace to catch base DG?
Well, we all know from qualifying he does have pace.
Yeah, I mean, without a doubt, Cali Rob's quick. But let's see what the lap times are. So Toad taking back the fastest lap a few laps ago from Cody Lewis. Base DG, his last lap was a 1:10.9. That's a pretty damn good lap so far because the leaders are doing about 1:10.6s. Well, Cali Rob is a little bit off the pace though. He only did a 1:11.2, about 3/10 off the pace of base DG.
Yep. And this is in. Steinman is starting to get a fuel warning light.
So he's been using up too much rich. Now he has to put the car back into lean. So what does this mean for his pursuit of Toad?
Well, I also do believe that Steinman may have cut another corner, so he could be on his last warning.
Last warning, so he's got to be really, really careful.
He needs to keep it tidy in hopes that Toad might pick up another 3-second time penalty.
So Cali Rob just responded in that last lap. He was behind, off the pace a little bit of Base DG. Base DG ended up doing a 1:11.4. Cali Rob ended up doing a 1:11.3. And even quicker was Steinmine. He did a 1:10.7. So the guy's really, really, really starting to push right now because it's now or never.
That's right. And Cali Rob is really trying to fight to gain that last podium position.
And Day's picking up a time penalty.
That's 20 seconds worth of penalties for him now. But
yeah.
What do you have to lose when you're in 7th?
Yeah, unfortunately, he's last of the pack as it stands. So let's go now then to Cali Rob. Because Cali Rob can see Base DG just up the road, about 2.2 seconds up the road or so.
Cali Rob desperately needing to find that rhythm.
It's tough when you're under pressure.
And it seems like right now they're pretty evenly paced.
Yeah, the last lap was a 1:11.3 from Base DG and a 1:11.6 from Cali Rob. Now, and he picks up a time penalty.
That's definitely going to hurt.
So yeah, and then Toad, our leader, he must have seen that Steinmeier was picking up the pace, and he responded. He did a 1:10, a high 1:10. So I think Toad is, at this point, a little bit in cruise control and is only going to respond when he sees Steinmeier close the gap a bit.
Yeah, well, here's the thought here. You know, Toad picking up the pace a little bit every time that Steinman comes across the line with the fastest lap and Toad tries to respond, it could affect him and cause him to pick up another 3 seconds.
Yeah, so Steinman's got to be careful that he doesn't end up losing time. He's got Base DG 6.6 behind him. If he picks up another penalty, that would mean that the gap is actually only 3.6. So he's got to be very, very careful. So Steinmeier now coming up to the car of Days. And does Steinmeier actually have damage? No, he doesn't. I thought he was missing an end plate. He does not. He's fine. But you can see that the car of Steinmeier is only going 190 mile an hour down the straight, so his car is in lean as he's trying to...
Oh, and Toad spins out in turn 2!
Oh, wow. Completely missed that one. What did you see with that one? Was he getting on the power just too aggressively?
I don't know if he clipped the chicane and it caused his front or his rear end to come around. But this gap is closing.
Yeah, so now the gap is only 9.7 seconds. With the difference in penalties, it's actually only 6.6 seconds. So let's go on board with Toad. On his on board with him and see how that car is actually looking.
He locks up.
So I wonder then if he's starting to suffer from the effects of the tire wear.
Could be. We have 2 laps.
Steinmeier is closing the gap. It was 9.6 and now it's 9. So the net lead is only 6 seconds. Can Toad keep it together? He's made some mistakes. So Dace should see that he's got Steinmeier coming, and he should let him through, otherwise he's going to give dirty air to Steinmeier. And he does let him through, so heads-up driver from Dace. Go back up to Toad. Does Toad have this car under control, or is he starting to lose it a little bit?
Well, I'm sure he's starting to feel those, +2 extra laps of tire wear.
Right. Right. Let's look at the tire life.
He is managing to, maintain the gap to Steinman.
He is. So he's done well to respond. This last stint on the softs will have been an 11-lap stint. Cody Lewis goes into the pits. I'm imagining for a fresh set of soft tires to try to take the fastest lap. Toad picking up another time penalty.
Here we go.
The gap is only 3 seconds now. The gap is only 3 seconds now.
And we are on the final lap.
This is it. This is it. The guys are pushing. Will Toad be able to keep it together and not further invalidate or get any corner cuts?
Well, to be truthfully honest, all he needs is just to keep it together right now.
He does, but he
has this win.
But he does. He can't get off. He can't slow down at all. He needs to continue going quickly because Steinmann's not slowing down. So Steinmann gaining a little bit of time there, but I don't think it's going to be enough. The gap is the net 2.8, 2.9 seconds as it stands. It has to be perfectly through the chicane for Toad.
And he does.
He does it very nicely indeed. So that looks like to be the race win for Toad. So Toad is second race with us, getting a win. Great job for Toad.
Great job from Steinman as well.
Yeah, 3.3 off the lead in the end. I think that's a great finish. Base, DG on the podium. Great drive from Base. Tough race from Caliban, who was our pole sitter today. But still picking up some good points, nonetheless. Bronco coming in hot into the final chicane. First race with us and already a top 5. There might only be 7 cars, but 12 drivers started today. So nice job to Bronco. Wow. That was so close. Yeah, that was so close at the end. Cody Lewis with driver of the day again, and he's like halfway off the actual graphics. I'm not sure what's up with that graphic. Wow. So the stands are just going nuts. Their hometown hero, Toad, got a really, really great finish in front of the hometown crowd.
Did not disappoint today.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll see that Canadian flag being hung with pride above them on the podium. Great race from Toad.
Absolutely.
He saw Steinman was closing the gaps at some points, but he would respond, and he had a response for every move that Steinman made.
Well, he definitely kept it exciting on those last couple of laps. Just barely clipped the inside chicane with his tire. It caused the car to spin around. And Steinman definitely saw that time gap closing and definitely put some pressure on, but he still managed to pull it out in the end.
Yeah, Toad will pick up some nice points today, but I think the big net winner is Steinman, because out of the top 4 guys in the championship, he's the one that scored the most points today. So great job from Steinman. Yeah, that's crazy. That's round 9. So we'll be back next weekend for round 10. That will be at France. But for everyone that tuned in, thank you for tuning in. It's the premier tier, round 9, Canadian GP. I was joined by T-Widow. So T-Widow, thank you for joining me.
Thanks.
Take care, everybody.